is automatically a distant dream for them. But joining me to talk about the AI development in Nigeria and try to look at how we can diverse the Nigerian economy and look at the tech space in general, the impact of AI in Nigeria and even at this point. But before we delve into the conversation, we'll go for a short break, and when we come back, we'll go fully into the conversation. Please stay with us. Welcome back. Joining me to talk about the impact of artificial intelligence on Nigeria's economy is Samuel Nitwe Theophilus, who is an AI professional. Well, first, let me welcome you to the desk. You're welcome.
Thank you, sir.
All right. So for the average man on the street right now, of course, we know that technology is taking over the entire business space. But for an average man out there, what is artificial intelligence?
So for the average man, I would just like to define artificial intelligence as a tech. Let's call it a branch of computing which enables the computer to be able to think as a human would, or not necessarily think, but act as a human would. So perform tasks. So this includes decision making, on being able to understand language, images, videos, tasks that were usually difficult or initially difficult for the machine to be able to perform, execute. So this, for layman, this is what I would like the layman to see artificial intelligence as. So basically empowering the machine to be able to make decisions, smart decisions as a human would. And this can be, this is now what helps you see how AI can help you in business eventually. So I'm sure we'll discuss that.
All right. So you've heard from the narrative that which we've just read. A lot of people that are business people, SMEs, we're starting with the SMEs before we delve into all the things that the AI can do, because most people that use the AI are largely business people.
Yes.
And they are complaining already that the AI looks like a mirage, looks like a big dream that is not coming through. The AI also has more negative impact on their businesses than the positive side of it. But you are a professional in this field. How will you assess the AI, artificial intelligence right now, even on the business space?
Okay, yeah, so first for let me try to clear some impressions, right? So for SMEs, I think now is the time to really be happy about the movement in AI, because it's some years back, even like 5-10 years back, it would have been more accurate to say AI was like far-fetched or something that SMEs could not really tap into because of the costs. Right, so if you want to train an AI model initially, you have to spend a lot of money renting GPUs, acquiring data, and then also like maybe having like technical professionals to like myself, so or basically ML engineers, data scientists to train models for you, and this is costly. So this, and also the algorithms, there wasn't so much breakthrough in AI as we have right now. So it was quite difficult for SMEs to be able to tap into the powers of AI. But right now, it has been foundational models and a lot of tools. It's now very easy for SMEs to tap into AI without breaking the bank. So the idea of when SMEs have that fear of feeling they can't tap into AI because it's expensive to invest in, that's thought is now old. It's a thing of the past. With a lot of these AI tools now are affordable, and you can start somewhere as a business, as an SME. So, and then the idea of AI taking out your jobs, I would like to look at it from this point. It's not really going to take out. I would like business people to look at it from the point of opportunities, right? So it's going to transform a lot. Of course, AI has transformed a lot of rules. It has transformed how business is done, and but it won't. It rather than seeing it as a way to take out your jobs, look at it as a way to as an era where you can really tap into your productive and creative space, right? So, for instance, when ChatGPT came out, it was thought that okay, maybe writing was going to be, it's going to take over writers. But up till now, I've worked as a technical writer, and AI has not replaced the need for writers. So it hasn't replaced the need for writers. I like to look at it this way. If you look at the time, like the time when the internet was invented, there were some jobs made obsolete. Yes, it made some jobs obsolete, just like the calculator, just like social media, but it also introduced a lot of new rules. So rather than having the fear that AI is going to take a lot of jobs, business, it's a smarter way to look at it, is going to transform the way you're going to be doing business, and that is already doing that, right? It's already doing that. You transform right now. You can focus on a lot of testing when you're, for instance, marketing. You can market smarter. You don't have to break the bank to create ads now. You have a lot of AI tools that can help you to create video ads, can help you craft your copies for your posts, for a lot of, so it's you are able to do a lot of things smarter now, and rather than having to hire so much and spend so much on experiments, AI has reduced that process and helped with experimentation, with a cheap experimentation and very effective implementation of like a lot of strategies, research. There are a lot of areas in which AI has helped. So I would say it's a fear that it's not so. It's a fear it's a fear that yes, that AI might take out some jobs, but I would say it's while that is not completely false, the reality is that AI will actually create a lot of opportunities as it faces out.
All right, so let's look at the Nigerian as a whole. We understand that as a country, first we have this notion where the traditional way of doing things is sacrosanct. It is almost impossible and it's very difficult to break that circle of doing things traditionally. And looking at the Nigerian educational system, we know that people still flip through the copies of the books,
yes,
and not do the e-copies like the millennials. We want to do e-copies. Now, looking at all of this as it stands right now, do you think as a country, as a people, we are ready for the conversation around AI? Or AI is just another foreign mechanism to distract us from growing inwardly and showing what we can do as a people indigenously and showcasing it out other than adopting this? Are we ready for this conversation?
I think we are ready. Okay, are we prepared to be able to compete with others in the world? Of course, we have a long way to go. But when it comes to readiness, I think we have, because the good thing about AI is powered by data. So long as you generate data, you can tap into AI. So when it comes to readiness, are businesses ready, or are businesses or Nigeria in general ready for implementation of AI? I would say there are steps that we need to take in order to get us there, because just like you said, we have a lot of traditional data. We have data stored in paper, in documents, physical papers, and we don't really have we still have a long way to go when it comes to like maintaining very solid centralized databases, whether it's at a federal level, in companies, or at educational level. So with that area, we have a lot to do, but because in order to integrate AI into your business, into your service or operations, you need to be AI ready. And one of the steps to being AI ready is having your data, basically structuring your data, making it ready for AI to be able to work with. So in that regard, we have work to do. But now the good thing with AI is even the process of making a company or an organization AI ready has now been simplified with tools like OCR. So when you talk about having documents, you can scan these documents and use AI to automatically extract text and create databases and make companies. So we are at a point where we can still tap into AI. So of course we have a lot of lapses in structure when it comes to data storage, maintaining data, and also infrastructure. But we are ready to have a conversation and start exploring, because if we don't do that, we will will actually fall behind. So and you get to see a lot of there's a lot of hype about it, and you see that from my conversations, I see that the youths are actively getting curious and trying to see how they can make money from AI or actually use it to build things. As a matter of fact, if you look at the average Nigerian student now uses many of these LLM tools to help in research with schoolwork and stuff. So to an extent, we are already beginning to use some of these AI tools. And I would say we need to work towards making our institutions AI ready by having a better data management culture, so that AI can work, can reveal patterns and make very good use of this large pool of information we are building every day.
So you are saying invariably that the AI is not a distraction to us, and yes, knowing fully well that we have yet to grow as a people, yes, traditionally, because most of the countries that are using AI right now, they grew from traditional states.
Yes.
They grew to where they are right now. We are still evolving as a people. Of course, biologists will say that under the evolutionary theory, that man has evolved from Australopithecus africanus to Homo habilis to Homo erectus, then to Homo sapien. Yeah. Those are stages. But then that's biologically. But looking at us as a society, we are still evolving.
Yes.
Wouldn't this be more of wouldn't this throw us to a neo-colonial ideology where everything that comes from the West sinks in, and as by so doing we are not allowed to grow as indigenously? Won't AI distract us in this light?
Well, you made a very good point, and basically it's going to be a challenge, or it's already a challenge, given that because those who start late have the risks falling behind, right? So with the drive in AI, the risks falling behind or staying behind the curve when it comes to like adopting, innovating. And this is not just limited to AI. We look at technology, like we in Nigeria is just beginning to catch up with manufacturing, or like or building, like innovating tech, let's say laptops or devices, gadgets, all these things. We're gradually catching up. So this is a common problem, but I would say we can start off as there's no way we can catch up eventually if we don't start being active. Let's say, would I say users? I don't want, maybe users is not the word I will use, but it's not the right word to use. But we need to understand, first of all, we need to have skilled persons who are capable of using these existing tools, understanding these tools, and seeing what to improve. Let's use China and US for instance. If you look at ChatGPT is a US-based company, and it's broke the world with the innovation in AI, right? So, and what did DeepSeek do? DeepSeek basically is a research team that's tried to build and improve on what ChatGPT is doing. So, and they did this. So, I remember there was a limitation on the GPUs that were available for China and other countries to be able to work with to build AIs, which means that this limited some of the innovation they could do. But what did this drove this Chinese company to find very optimized ways to build and train powerful models at efficient cost, and what that was what brought DeepSeek. So DeepSeek, it's an AI tool that was developed and had the level of efficiency of the reasoning. For instance, that's DeepSeek R1. It had the reasoning capacity or capability of the O1 in ChatGPT's O1, but a lot, 100 times cheaper, right? Very cheap. So what does this tell? Like, you see that you need to understand. It takes intelligence to be able to understand how a solution like ChatGPT works, to be able to see how you can now build something better. So what I'm driving at is, as Nigerians, we need to first be able to use and understand, to be looking for how to upskill citizens, like upskill developers and have access. And even when you look at, for instance, ChatGPT, DeepSeek, it's still required money. It's still required resources to like develop. And also, when you look at the cost, even though it was a lot cheaper than OpenAI's reasoning model, it was still costly. It cost about $5 million. So before we get to the point where we start building, right, we need to first be able to have skilled persons, and then understand these tools, and to a point where we can now build something of our own. And of course, that would still require resources, which are another limitation.
All right. All right. So let's talk about these issues around this artificial intelligence and also the tech space. To an extent, we've realized that a lot of young people engage in the tech space. A lot of young people, but then the tech space has been characterized by a lot of activities in the negative light. Okay. And we've seen Nigerians, and we've seen people, let me not use Nigeria, we've seen people across the globe do negative things on the internet. And also we've seen them do a lot of strong things positively on the internet. But the negative is gradually becoming on the rise as it stands right now. Again, artificial intelligence has come to us. Will this further accelerate the rate of crime in our society, especially among young people?
Well, it's I would say, I would like to look at it as maybe I shouldn't use guns. I wanted to make reference to guns, but that might not be a very good example. So AI is a very powerful tool, right? It's a very powerful tool, and the tendencies, just like the internet, just like you said, the internet as it came with the potential to be able to get to breed scammers, and to have facilitate scam activities. But also, the internet has also provided a space, an avenue for people to be able to make money and earn living. So, in as much as so, for instance, it's given the opportunities the internet has given, right? It's in the long run, it's actually more beneficial to use. Let me use Nigeria for instance. Just like there are people who are trying to scam, or who use the internet to scam and do all those things, there are also Nigerians who are actively building and making money, building, working with big companies, making innovations and putting out products out there. So with AI, yes, for instance, you have tools like deepfakes, the potential to be able to fabricate information that is not actually true. But one good thing with the AI space is the ethical community has also worked to enforce some regulations. So in as much as there are AI tools, there is also possible the AI tools that can fabricate, can clone voices, can facilitate.
That was where I was going to. Exactly. Yeah, because seen most of those AI that can speak other people's languages.
So you see now there are also AIs that can also detect this solution. So it creates opportunities for crime, but also there are a lot of opportunities for innovation, right? So you can get a lot of things done. And these particular materials, for instance, like the cloned voices, their signature, like if you go down, their signatures to content created with this in this nature, so that is detectable. So, and there are also tools that are being developed to combat it. So it's, yes, just like any powerful tool, it can be misused, and some of these tools are out there, and people are misusing them. But also there are, it's like, it's almost like you can't fight the movement without being a part of it. Let me put it this way. So you can't you can't fight the potential crimes that people will commit using AI without finding solutions, without trying to build counter solutions. For instance, like I said, when deepfakes were created, the potential to be able to fabricate and create doctored videos was there. But also a group came up, I think Stability, the company Stability AI, also, and other companies, I think Google as well, brought up tools that can detect videos that are not that are
been doctored.
Yes, they have been doctored. You understand? So there are tools to develop this. So I would say it's a call for AI enthusiasts to try to find, because this what you just shared are opportunities for people to be able to actually break in and find solutions. So it's so I want to deny the fact that it's actually, there are actually challenges and that's why, like you see, even for AI engineers, you are required to ensure that you stick with the ethics of AI development, of their ethics. Like you have Nigeria, the Nigerian, that's the NDPC, and then also you have the global. There are ethical communities and policies, or when you working with AI. So, and it's important that as a developer you try to work within these ethical boundaries, so that you build solutions that can help you make the best out of the good side of AI.
All right. So before we go back to talk about the business side of on assessing the economic impact of AI on Nigeria's economy, again, let's hear you talk about the AI in terms of the family setup. Where we have the families.
Okay.
I understand that in outside the shores of Nigeria, there are robotics, there are AIs are being created right now. So somebody even said casually that people will start getting married to robots in no distant time, because we've seen what the likes of Elon Musk and the rest of them are using AIs to do. If we bring this conversation back home, how safe are the home fronts, even with the introduction of AI into Africa and Nigeria?
Okay, so that's a very good question. So, talking about the impact of AI on the home, I would say first, when you look at, I like to, even as an AI engineer, I like to advise the use of AI as an augmental, or rather as an intern, a very powerful intern, right? So not to replace these humans. So I don't look at, so when you're implementing, whether it's in automation, whether it's in the home for productivity, you use it not as a creative tool to help amplify your strengths and to amplify your creativity, make you more productive, rather than using it to just replace your role. So there are good ways and there are bad ways to use AI. So when it comes to any time, because even as powerful as AI is, it's whenever it's used as a complete replacement for human roles, you have risks. It risks misuse a lot. So when you talk about, for instance, having AI, people have tried to use AI as therapy, and like there's tools for AI, like where you have AI therapists or AI girlfriends or boyfriends or something, or things like that.
So that's why I'm even asking. People begin to have AI. People begin to have AI's wife and AI husband and AI fiancé and AI. So all of this.
Exactly. So but you see, AI cannot. There are things that AI cannot do better than humans, and there are things that humans. So for instance, if you look at a therapist? What makes a good therapist? Someone who can really feel with you understand with you and someone who you feel really understands you. But you see, when you use an AI therapist, it kind of defeats the aim. And what is one of the reasons why it will be so? And just similar to the girlfriend and the whole thing. So when it comes to the family space, I would say that it's important that as we integrate AI as we consider integrating AI into the family or into our personal lives, we try to look for it more towards productivity, to boost productivity, and not a replacement for human relationships, right? So it could be maybe automating your cleaning, or automating your refilling home supplies or things like that. So these are safe ways to automating, maybe maintaining your power supply, or just some of these things. So, but when you start using it to replace, I personally don't believe or see AI perfectly replacing human like the need for humans, right? So the emotional need for human relationships, that will not be replaced. So for parents thinking of maybe instead of spending, and you can even see personally, okay, this is my personal hot take, right? So it's when you look at, for instance, gaming. If as a parent, you, instead of spending time with your kids, or as well in their formative years, you just feed them or just show them to TV screens or game screens, you see that that doesn't replace, that's tech does not replace the need for bonding they have with you. So same thing with AI, right? When you use AI to replace the need for human connection, you are getting it wrong. So that would be a bad use. That would be a negative use of AI. And if you do that, they will definitely not have very good results. So the idea of AI girlfriends, especially except people, even for those who want to really even get to explicit levels, because they are sex toys, and they are making this experiences smarter and all, but they will still never be able to replace the human touch or the human bond. So in that case, my advice would be to guard on the use of AI. So not to use AI to replace human roles, like okay, the need for human relationships, emotions, or the need for human interaction, but use it to improve productivity, to help in learning, to help in time management or resource management or things like that. So just boost productivity or optimize, and maybe things that can cut down cost, help the kids to learn better, or they're in whatever areas you want to apply it. So, but not to replace, not like in a lazy way to replace the need for you to perform your roles as a dad, a mom, a husband, a boyfriend, or like that. So there's still need for you to still preserve that human space. So that's my take.
Oh, so invariably your take is that as AI has entered into Nigeria right now,
yes,
we are safe.
Okay, yes,
in terms of our home front. So in the nearest future, we won't get to see young girls falling in love with robotics.
We will be safe. No, my point is, we will be safe if we make the right use of AI. Because of course, if we start having more people ordering the robots, you might not have an immediate. We might not see the impact immediately, but that will affect the society or the way things operate.
But for economic gains, Nigerian might not even need to even import the robots. Nigerians know how to build. Of course, you are a professional when it has to do with AI. Of course, you know how to build. You can create one. So that's what we're talking about in terms of its generality, yes, not importing the robots. Most Nigerian AI engineers can do magic. They just need to study how these things were done outside the country. And before you know what's going on, true, we start proposing, and probably we start sending messages to the Nigerian Senate to approve robotic marriages and all of this. So that's why I need to clarify first from you, even as a professional in the field. Yeah. On the home front, if we introduce AI, are we safe?
No, if we introduce AI, which we need ethical, we won't be safe if there are no ethical regulations to it. Okay. So we need to have ethical regulations on what AI would can be used for, because of course, just like any other tool, without limits, there will be downsides. A very good, because as just like you said, I wanted to make a note. So, for instance, AI, as powerful as it is, is can make mistakes sometimes, and that's why when you go to even platforms like ChatGPT or whatever, you see a disclaimer can make stating that it can make mistakes. So now, what happens when you trust AI blindly? And that's why there's a that's why there's a push for explainable AI and ethics around, just to so that AI doesn't just give you a solution, it walks you through how it gets to that solution. That way, it helps you to trust it more, and especially with references, it helps you to trust it more. So, what happens, for instance, when you integrate AI in the family and without guardrails, or when it makes some mistakes, you see that some of the mistakes, and that some of the mistakes can be very costly. So there's always need for regulation. So AI can be integrated into homes. Of course, there are very good sides of AI being integrated. For instance, you can see how tools like Alexa have integrated with when you talk about the Internet of Things, like having integrating into your appliances and how things operate. You can see that's like a good use of AI, having AI automatically refill your orders, your supplies, and things like that. So these are good use of AI. So, but when you start, there needs to be an understanding of, I think, for every implementation or integration of AI, you need to consider what are the possible, what could go wrong when you use this. So this could be a way to guard and see how, because I still maintain that when you integrate AI or when you use AI to replace the need for human connection, that could be risky.
All right, so let's go back to talk about the Nigerian economy, even as it concerns AI. In other climes and other countries around the world, they tend to use AI to their own advantage and thereby generating funds for the government. Nigerian government are yet to fully implement even the digital currency, which we popularly known as cryptocurrencies, as it stands right now. Perhaps we want to believe that the SEC, which is the Exchange Commission, Security and Exchange Commission, are already doing a studies around understanding. But we came up with eNaira, and to a very large extent, the eNaira worked, but we were unable to optimize its full potentials of the eNaira. A lot of Nigerians don't even know what the eNaira is all about, especially in remote communities. Now, let's look at the AI economy as a tool to drive Nigerian economy. Are you optimistic that if AI is introduced to drive government policy, we can make more revenue that we can use to better the lot of Nigeria? Or in this light, what's your reaction to it?
Yes, I strongly believe that if the government, and not just the government, both the private and the public sector, if we embrace in Nigeria, if we embrace AI, the right use of AI, we can drive a lot of economic growth. And now, if you look at countries like US or China, and you look at I think I was recently reading an article that noted that China now requires students to be
6 years old students
to be trained in AI. Why are they doing that? Because they understand the importance of AI, right? So when you look at US and you see the funds, when Trump first got into office, he tried to set up a committee where they would try to drive AI innovation so that US stays at the top of market. And you can see China also pushing that. So you can see that you can see very big companies of your countries, right, are putting a lot of resources and efforts into AI to drive good. And you can see, so when you see, aside the use for AI, aside the drive for AI innovation, there's also a battle on access to data. So because these countries understand the value of data and also the value of innovation. So I would say if Nigeria taps into that, will definitely thrive. And it's at many levels now. If you use AI in the government sector, you can use it to check fraud. You can use it to combat a lot of things, to make opportunities. So, for instance, you are trying to bid. You have procurement. You are trying to make entertain or get fair evaluation of most of this and process thousands of applications. Things you can use AI to build systems that will give contractors fair bidding opportunities. And you can, even in job applications, you can do that. There are a lot of uses, right? You can use it for sensitization. So because some problems, okay, when you look at policies or let's say tax payment, you see that sometimes the citizens are not very informed because they don't know, like they don't even know what they are supposed to do or what their duties are, and some of these things. And you hear when you talk to some government officials or representatives, you see that they complain about the need for sensitization. So even in areas of like trying to sensitize, you can use AI to build intelligent systems that can sensitize the users, can sensitize citizens better. And in the private sector, you can use that to build solutions that can definitely drive revenue for you as a company. And also, like, so there are a lot of use. And as individuals, as skilled professionals, you can export your skills. So you see a lot of remote jobs with a lot of, so the more skilled, since AI is one of the hot roles. As a technical, if you are a technical professional and you are interested in AI, by learning more learning how to build and working with and basically developing your skills in AI and being able to build AI solutions, you will be more more attractive to employers outside, both within and outside the country. So I believe that in a lot of ways, AI will drive growth, economic growth for the country. And even when you go to the even non-vocational, like you can use AI even in, let's say, farming. Like I said, I worked on projects where the AI was used to optimize the application of herbicides on farmlands by 60%. That's using computer vision. So using drone images, the captured images from these drones and optimize the application of herbicides, which I can go into details, but just to highlight some examples of how AI can be used. So AI can be used in agriculture, it can be used in finance, it can be used in virtually, and since it can be used in a labor-intensive role as architecture, you understand that it can be used in building and other areas as well. So I believe that integration of AI in Nigeria would help greatly.
All right, thank you for that. Of course, one thing that powers the AI system in Nigeria is electricity. Which I believe you understand, and you're already laughing. And to a very large extent, again,
Yes.
most communities in Nigeria, they have epileptic power supply. Somebody was joking and he said that they moved them from band C to band D, and another person now casually joked that that's a bandit. So, but then it's just on a lighter note.
Yes.
Knowing fully well that we don't have the kind of power supply that is sufficient enough to drive an AI economy as it stands right now. If we do a litmus test on AI to drive local government economies in Nigeria and take it down to remote area, don't you think that AI will fail on arrival if we channel it to the government due to the fact that we still have epileptic power supply?
Okay, so that's a very important question. So I would like to address. So first, I'm not going to excuse the need for the government to step up to build to make social amenities available. Right? It's very important that these things are done. However, in addition to that, if we want to make progress as citizens, I think we can't wait till everything is perfect because that would be a long time. So there's a need for this innovation, these things to be ready. But I believe that it's also like even when building, let's use I'm trying to see a very good example where you try to look at your environment, and when building solutions, you see how you can build solutions that will work well in your environment. Let's use POS and just banking, the fintech space, right? So, if you look at the fintech space in Nigeria versus that's outside. You said there are some features or there are some tools that are thriving here because of some poor infrastructure, which are not normally are not very needed. So if you look at, for instance, the way POS is being used in Nigeria as almost a substitute for ATMs, right? That's not supposed to be the case if we had very functional ATMs and things like that. But these are innovations that were from very forward-thinking entrepreneurs and who saw how to implement a system that will help Nigerians combat lack of access to funds. So you see, some of these things. So this is just an example to highlight the fact that even with cases where we don't have steady supply to electricity, as innovators we can find ways around these solutions. So we don't be in a situation where we're waiting for the perfect moment to innovate. So for instance, if you look at not beyond just electricity, right? AI, like I said, AI is a resource intensive investment. If you're trying to build, let's say, a Nigerian themed, let's say, ChatGPT, now to be resource intensive, you need access to very powerful GPUs to be able to replicate that. That's if you're not fine tuning. If you're trying to build from scratch, you will need access to very powerful GPUs. These GPUs, we don't have them readily available. We might need to maybe have a contract with a company like NVIDIA, or end up renting GPUs from AWS, that's Amazon Web Services, or Google Cloud platforms, or some of these cloud partners. So you see that's resource intensive. So if we're not building, so that's already resource intensive. If you're trying to gather the data, that's another work. That's also another gathering data, sourcing quality data for training. All these things are very intensive. So we don't have access to that, and if we're trying to work towards that, that will take a very long time. So how do we jump on the AI bus without waiting till everything is perfect? Of course, there are limitations to what we can do now because we don't have access to infrastructure, we don't have access to some of these resources. So, but this notwithstanding, we can still make. There are still things we can build, and there are still things we can do. So it's a fact that yes, even not even when you look at beyond electricity, network, right? So what issues do you have? One of the common issues you have, okay, stable, consistent internet supply or network. And one of the ways Nigerian or techies in Nigeria have been able to combat that is building systems that can also catch activities offline, so that when the internet fails, when it comes back on, they can always update. Like, I'm just trying to give you some strategies that have been used in the Nigerian tech space to try to combat some of these issues we have. Of course, it's not ideal, and there needs to be improvement. It doesn't mean that we should excuse the poor internet services we have or the poor electricity we have, but if we want to make progress, we would not wait for things to be perfect before we make progress. So I hope that addresses.
Well, it's quite an interesting conversation around the AI space, especially when we try to assess it in terms of looking at it from the Nigerian angle. Of course, we've talked about the SMEs that have been complaining, and of course, you've addressed them, saying that they should kill their fears. That AI did not come to kill them. AI came to liberate them. What an interesting conversation it has been so far. I want to say thank you so much, Samuel Ntwe, Theophilus, for being a part of the show.
Thank you very much for having me too.
All right, viewers, this is how far we can go this Wednesday on The Desk. Do remember that you can join the conversation on our various social media handle now showing on your screen using at Global TV NG. Don't forget that you can also download the Global TV mobile app on your Android and iOS devices to keep track of our broadcasts. I am Godwin Sunday. Always remember that peace and unity are the pathways to progress. Till the desk come your way again, it's bye for now.